If you're feeling stressed about homework and finals, we've got the perfect place for you.
As well as a look into the impeachment hearing that began this week.
You're watching Bison Information Network News. Thanks for joining us. We're nearing the end of the 2019 fall semester, and with finals coming up, it can be quite stressful for many students.
The NDSU Counseling Center offers many different opportunities for students to relieve their stress. One of the options is called positive relaxation, where you can spend the afternoon with therapy dogs. In a survey that involved 50 students last year, 70% of students knew about the center but did not use it. If you want to schedule an appointment, you can contact the center at 701-231-7671. The appointment is free.
The first day of public hearings in the impeachment inquiry of President Trump brought a potential bombshell about an apparent second follow-up phone call. CNN's Jessica Schneider reports.
Committee will come to order.
The first day of public impeachment hearings beginning with a startling revelation for House investigators. Top diplomat to Ukraine Bill Taylor describing a phone call between President Trump and the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, Gordon Sondland, overheard by his aide 1 day after Trump's July 25th phone call with the Ukrainian president.
Ambassador Sondland told President Trump the Ukrainians were ready to move forward. Following the call with President Trump, the member of my staff asked Ambassador Sondland what President Trump thought about Ukraine. Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden, which Giuliani was pressing for.
Trump denying that call.
I know nothing about that. First time I've heard it.
But House Democrats say Taylor's latest information helps make their case that Trump abused his oath of office even stronger.
But what this call indicates, as other testimony has likewise indicated, is that the instructions are coming from the president on down.
Taylor and Deputy Assistant Secretary of State George Kent describing what they encountered as the Trump administration used military aid and a meeting at the White House as leverage for Ukraine to begin investigations for the president's political gain.
To withhold that assistance for no good reason other than help with the political campaign made no sense. It was illogical. It could not be explained. It was crazy.
Kent expressing his concerns about Trump's personal attorney Rudy Giuliani's involvement in U.S. relations with Ukraine, including helping lead a smear campaign against then U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch.
I became alarmed as those efforts bore fruit. They led to the ouster of Ambassador Yovanovitch and hampered U.S. efforts to establish rapport with the new Zelensky administration in Ukraine.
House Democrats asking about Giuliani's intent.
What interest do you believe he was promoting, Mr. Kent?
I believe he was looking to dig up political dirt against a potential rival in the next election cycle.
Ambassador Taylor, what interest do you believe he was promoting?
I agree with Mr. Kent.
Meanwhile, Republicans defending Trump, arguing the two witnesses lack firsthand knowledge and casting the hearing as a partisan show.
But the main performance, the Russia hoax, has ended, and you've been cast in the low-rent Ukrainian sequel.
I've seen church prayer chains that are easier to understand than this. No pressure, no demands, no threats, no blackmail, nothing corrupt.
But House Democrats standing firm.
Is this what we want a president to do? To leverage their power? I think for most Americans that's sinking in.
After this week, lawmakers expect at least one more week of public hearings.
NDSU President Dean Brashani has been named the Grand Marshal for the 2019 Fargo Holiday Lights Parade. Previous Grand Marshals for the event include North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum and NDSU Downtown Director Tim Flacco. The role of the Grand Marshal is to be in the first float to kick off the event. Brashani said in a statement that he is honored to be the Grand Marshal in the parade and how the fun and festive event brings the community together. Some of the attractions for the parade include floats covered in lights, marching units, and horse carriages. The parade is from November 26th at 6:30 to 9 p.m. and begins in downtown Fargo and goes through downtown Moorhead and goes through downtown Fargo.
An NDSU student has placed in the top 50 out of 5,000 students in a cybersecurity competition. Jack Hance is a junior majoring in computer science and was one of 10 NDSU students competing. He placed 42nd in the National Cyber League competition, took 30th in wireless access exploitation, and 51st in web application exploitation. Students participate in the competition to stand out to employers and to prepare themselves for their future careers. Their work includes testing systems for vulnerabilities before hackers can exploit them. They apply their skills in open source intelligence, cryptography, scanning, password cracking, log analysis, and more.
Now let's take a look at the weather for the weekend in the Fargo-Moorhead area. Today we had a slight break from the frigid temperatures and snow we had earlier this week. Temperatures got into the high 30s with a mostly sunny sky. A pleasant day by November standards. Overnight, we'll dip down into the teens and winds should stay fairly calm throughout the night. Over to our 7-day forecast, some sunshine is expected tomorrow, but a high of around 34 will be a slight drop-off. Rain and snow mix is likely for Saturday. Not exactly good news for any Bison football tailgaters. Starting Sunday, we'll see a 3-day stretch of cloudy to mostly cloudy weather with highs staying near the mid to upper 30s. Beginning on Wednesday, though, snow is back in the forecast and high temperatures could dip back below freezing. Thursday, we might be seeing lows back in the teens with snow also expected in the morning.
Coming up after the break, the last day to drop classes.
And what you need to know about the Dining Center over Thanksgiving break. Tomorrow is the last day for NDSU students to withdraw individual classes and drop down to 0 credits. Students have until 11:59 p.m. Friday, November 15th to remove any classes from their schedule through Campus Connection. Any dropped classes will appear as a W on their records instead of the final grade given by their professor. Using only Campus Connection will not only allow students to drop all of their classes. A withdrawal to 0 credits form must be turned in by tomorrow. Anyone with questions is asked to contact One Stop at the Memorial Union.
NDSU is offering a flight class where students can become a private pilot. Introduction to Aviation will be offered spring of 2020 through the Mechanical Engineering Department, but is open to all students. No prerequisites are required, and the class will count for 3 credits. It will be offered from 6 to 7:15 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays and will be taught by Paul Randall. The class introduces students to aerodynamics, airplane components, airport operations, FAA regulation, and navigation charts and flight planning needed for getting a private pilot's lesson.
On Thursday, November 21st, NDSU will host the annual Thanksgiving dinner at all 3 dining centers. There will be a temporary closing from 3 to 4 p.m. to prepare for the event. Students will be able to enjoy a wide variety of traditional Thanksgiving food, such as turkey, stuffing, and lefse. The event goes from 4 to 7:30 p.m., and students with a meal plan can get in for free. Otherwise, the cost is $9.95. For more information on the Thanksgiving dinner, visit one of the NDSU dining centers or contact the dining center offices at 701-231-8122.
The annual horse-drawn carriage rides through downtown Fargo began earlier today. The next times carriage rides will be available are November 21st and December 5th, both from 6 to 9 p.m. There are 3 carriage rides per day and as many as 16 passengers are allowed. The event is family-friendly and can also work for couples looking for a festive and romantic ride through downtown. Tickets for the event are $10, and you can purchase them by contacting the Red Silo at 701-478-3822.
Antibiotics save lives, but superbugs are outsmarting them.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says drug resistance is one of the greatest global health challenges of modern time. Britt Conway has more in today's Health Minute.
Superbugs are germs capable of learning and evolving, making them resistant to the antibiotics designed to kill them. Nearly 36,000 Americans die from superbug infections every year, which is about 1 every 15 minutes. That's according to a 2019 report from the CDC, warning some miracle drugs no longer perform miracles. The agency says there are 5 drug-resistant superbugs that pose an urgent threat to global health. Genetic researchers found some germs can share their DNA with other germs, effectively teaching them how to outwit complex antibiotics. The CDC says most deaths from drug-resistant infections are caused by germs typically found in hospitals. But the report notes while superbug infections from hospitals are down from the 2013 study, infections caught anywhere else in the community are on the rise. Experts point to the overprescribing of antibiotics as a factor behind growing drug resistance.
And they say the only way to prevent the rise of antibiotic-resistant infections is if doctors, patients, and policymakers work together. For today's Health Minute, I'm Britt Conway.
Antibiotics can be overused to treat infections in animals that we eat. The CDC says 20% of all drug-resistant infections come from our food.
U.S. regulations prevent livestock farmers from using drugs important to human health on their animals, except in certain circumstances.
After the break, lawmakers are calling on the CDC to speed up their response to the recent vaping illnesses and deaths.
And a look at the Hollywood Minute. We'll be right back. Tomorrow night is your chance to create and customize your own do-it-yourself crafts. Pinterest Night is hosted by Campus Attractions and is an opportunity for students to make fun crafts. It's also a fun activity to do with your friends. There will be pizza and other goodies for students to enjoy. You can attend Pinterest Night tomorrow, November 15th from 9 to 1 a.m. on the lower level of the Memorial Union.
While the vaping crisis continues across the U.S., lawmakers in Washington are putting a microscope on the response to the epidemic. Wednesday, members of the Senate Committee on Health heard from officials with the CDC and the Center for Tobacco Products who are working to figure out what is causing the crisis. Camila Bernal has the details.
As states around the country deal with a vaping epidemic, senators on Capitol Hill trying to get to the root of the problem.
This harms you. This will addict you. This could ultimately kill you.
The Senate Committee on Health Wednesday heard from health administrators whose agencies are currently investigating the issue.
We continue to suggest that people consider refraining from use of all e-cigarettes or vaping products.
So far, it doesn't appear that any one product is to blame, but many cases do seem to be linked with illegal sales. The investigation has also found that THC has been present in most of the samples that the FDA has tested. On Friday, the CDC said vitamin E acetate, an additive sometimes used in THC and other vaping products, may be to blame.
What we cannot say right now is whether there are other substances.
As they figure it out, health officials sounding the alarm on the rise of youth vaping.
Most young people walk around thinking that e-cigarettes are harmless.
But while senators agree on the problem,
it just seems to me we need swift, bold, quick action.
The solution will be harder to find.
We're probably going to end up doing the wrong thing, but if you want less kids to smoke, I'd just increase the penalties on people selling to kids, and you might have less kids smoking.
In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
According to the CDC, as of November 5th of 2019, there have been 39 vaping-related deaths in 24 states and the District of Columbia.
Today in entertainment news, women take the center stage, on the big screen, behind the scenes, and on tour. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
The country is at war with itself. Vietnam, the oppression of black people in America. It's the same disgusting racism.
The revolution needs movie stars.
Who's that? Some actress. Just grabbing some free publicity. She has a history of donations to civil rights groups. She's a sympathizer, sir. I think she could be useful.
They've tapped our phones. They're listening. I can hear these little clicks on the line. I think it's the government.
Here's your first look at Seberg, starring Kristen Stewart as American actress and French New Wave star Jean Seberg, who was targeted, harassed, and defamed by the FBI for her support of the Black Panther Party. Seberg opens in limited release December 13th. Regina Hall is doing double duty. Deadline reports she'll executive produce and star in the occult drama Master. Hall is set to play the head of students at a predominantly white college dealing with both racism and supernatural forces.
Right now I'm shameless, screaming my lungs out for you.
Camila Cabello is ready for romance. The chart-topping singer-songwriter has announced her sophomore album, Romance, is due out December 6th and available for pre-order this Friday. Cabello also announced the North American leg of her first headlining arena tour will kick off July 29, 2020 in Vancouver, British Columbia. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The next time you get a phone call, you may want to double-check who's calling. The Cass County Sheriff's Office claims that scammers are making their phone numbers look like they're legitimate. One individual told police that the person on the phone was from the Social Security Administration and that they had an active warrant for the caller. The Sheriff's Office wants people to know that they will never ask for payments over the phone. Anyone who is concerned about the possibility of an active warrant is encouraged to call the Cass County Warrant Division at 701-241-1283. When we come back, Isaac will have your weekly sports update for the Bison.
What can we expect, Isaac?
Well, it was a busy week of home events here at NDSU, and I'm covering 4 games that took place across 4 days. Stick around. That's coming up. The NDSU football team knows whoever they play on a given day, they'll get that team's best effort. The opponent last Saturday, a Western Illinois team trying to build off its first win of the season the week prior. The Harvest Bowl uniforms are out in full force for this one, as the Bison were looking for win number 10 on the season. First quarter already up by 7. Dimitri Williams takes the sweep to the right corner of the end zone. He's going to barrel into the end zone right here on the extra effort. That's his 5th score of the season. The Bison up 13-0 at this point. Next drive, Trey Lance on a 3rd down. He'll decide to tuck this and run. Makes a move in the open field, sees some daylight. He goes into the end zone nearly untouched. His 9th rushing TD on the year. That's time for the team lead. 20-0 NDSU here and 27-0 at the half. First drive of the 3rd quarter, the route continues. Christian Watson makes the catch, makes one man miss, and he's off to the races down the sideline. NDSU tops the 56 points they had last week at Youngstown State. 57-21 the final.
Always emphasizing turnovers. The ball is really what matters. As long as we can keep our offense on the field and keep their offense off. I mean, 600 and some yards today. You want our offense out there.
This Saturday is senior day for 13 Bison players in the final regular season home game of 2019. That matchup against the South Dakota Coyotes kicks off at 2:30. Last Sunday marked the official home opener for the NDSU women's basketball team, and those in attendance were treated to a good one. The Bison are up by 4 at the half, but this 3 from Nicole Scales puts them up by 9. That's the largest lead of the game for either team. Some back and forth passing on this possession right here leads to a 3 for Circling Rimdahl. It's now a 7-point lead for NDSU with 4.5 minutes remaining. Northern Illinois not going down quietly though. This and 1 from Riley Blackwell keeps the Huskies in it. Now down to 10 seconds remaining, and the Huskies down by 2. This is Gabby Nikitaniate. She's going to drive to her right and lay this one up and gets it to go. The roll goes for her. This one needs overtime to decide a winner. And in the extra period, Abby Wollicott puts NIU up for good. The Huskies spoil Jory Collins' home coaching debut with a 6-point win in overtime.
If there's anything we're going to take out of here positive, it's just the way we played. I thought was good and enjoyed being home. We're going to try to keep doing that, try to get some more fans in here to watch us, and hopefully us playing that hard and playing that way will be something they can get behind.
NDSU is back at home for another non-conference game against Valparaiso tomorrow night. Let's go over to the men's basketball team who hosted a Veterans Day Monday matinee against Cal Poly. The Bison led by as many as 8 points in the first half before this coming onto your screen. Catch and shoot 3 from Colby Rogers in the right corner, put the Mustangs up 33-30 at the half. That's all part of a 17-0 run for the visitors. The home team, though, would battle back. Tyson Ward will get into the lane on a dribble drive and dish this off to Sam Griesel for the nifty reverse layup. The Bison take a 2-point lead. Under 3 minutes to go in regulation, still a 2-point NDSU lead when Cameron Hunter will take this pass from Ward, rise up, and hit a clutch catch and shoot triple. 13 points for him in just the second half. Next possession, Vinny Shahid will get into the lane for 2 of his game-high 21. NDSU wins its 2nd in a row, 74-67. And the NDSU volleyball team is heading back to the postseason for the 7th straight year. This result is official following the team's 4-set victory over UND Tuesday. All sets were determined by 4 points or fewer, except for the 4th, which NDSU took by 10. And Emily Halverson had 4 kills in the first set and finished with 13, while Syra Tanshin led all Bison hitters with 17. NDSU has already clinched the 5th seed in next week's Summit League tournament and cannot rise or fall in the standings. They have another home match on Sunday at 1 against Oral Roberts to close the regular season. And be sure to tune in next week for more highlights and reactions from Bison Athletics. That's This Week in Sports. Up next is the last check of the weather and Bison on the Street. Stick around.
Elton John is coming to Fargo next summer as part of his farewell tour. The tour, titled Farewell Yellow Brick Road, will come to the Fargo Dome June 13th. The 5-time Grammy Award winner last played in Fargo in 2009, alongside Billy Joel. John started this final tour back in September of 2018, and Fargo will be the 30th concert on the second-to-last leg of the 3-year grand finale. Tickets for American Express credit card users went on sale this morning, and all other tickets go on sale next Friday, November 22nd. For more details on the concert and how to purchase tickets, visit fargodome.com.
We are halfway through November, and that means temperatures are starting to drop fast.
Bison Information Network reporter Noah Zimmer asked students how they stay warm during the winter.
Yeah, so if I'm trying to stay warm, I like to just make a nice cup of coffee. You gotta get your layers on, you know, layer up like an onion or something like that. It's real easy. Gotta stay warm.
My tips for the cold are wearing extra layers all the time.
A really warm coat and warm boots and a hat and gloves.
The best way to stay warm is to not come to North Dakota.
The best way to stay warm is, I would say, is just layer on clothing, probably some warm boots, a big puffy jacket, some beanies and gloves, maybe even hand warmers to stay warm.
I just wear my big jacket, my scarf, my hood, and my mittens and boots.
To keep warm in the winter, I usually crank the heat up and then wrap myself in about 3 blankets and make hot chocolate.
All right, I stay warm by always wearing my hat, having my coffee, and my coat.
Now let's take one final look at the weather for the area in the week ahead. Tomorrow will stay fairly sunny, but a rain and snow mix is in the forecast for Saturday. Beginning Sunday, we'll start a brief stretch of cloudy to mostly cloudy weather before snow is expected to hit the area in the middle of the week. Wednesday also looks to bring a return of cooler weather with a high of 32 and low of 21 expected. Thursday, we should also get some snow in the morning, and temperatures are likely to drop slightly more.
Thank you for watching this edition of Bison Information Network News.
Be sure to check us out on social media and catch us back here next Thursday night at 6.
Have a great night, everyone.